Question is that the bill be now read a second time. Dr. Teo Ho Pin.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise in support of the bill. Sir, the 15 PAP Town Councils support the use of shared bikes and personal mobility devices, or PMDs, to facilitate the last mile connection for our land transport system. Cycling is also a healthy and environmentally friendly mode of transport. Sir, since the introduction of shared bikes and personal mobility devices in Singapore, the Town Councils have received feedback from our residents outlining various concerns. The key concerns which have been received are as follows. First, the dangers cyclists and PMD users bring to the pedestrians, especially when they travel along footpaths and common areas. Second, the dangers they bring to themselves, drivers and riders when they travel recklessly on roads, ignoring traffic rules and basic road etiquette. Third, the indiscriminate parking of shared bikes at common areas. And fourth, the inconsiderate use of shared bikes exemplified in the abuse and dumping of shared bikes. These have generated not only inconveniences, but also tangible hazards to the health and well-being of our people. So the 15 PAP Town Councils support the bill, which will provide a regulatory framework to address the problems of indiscriminate vehicle parking, make provisions for private parking places, and introduce an enforcement regime to manage the behavior of shared bike operators, cyclists, and PMD users. In particular, we strongly support Clause 6, which will license all bike-sharing operators in Singapore. Sir, to ensure the successful use of bike-sharing services and PMDs in Singapore, we need the support of all stakeholders to take ownership, exercise due consideration, and comply strictly with the proposed regulations. I wish to propose several measures for the LTA to consider to make the use of shared bikes and PMDs a more pleasant experience for all in Singapore. First, infrastructure for cycling and PMDs. So many footpaths in our built environment are not suitable for cycling and PMDs. As a result, accidents which have resulted in injuries to pedestrians, cyclists, and PMD users have occurred. We need to expedite the building of cycling and PMD-friendly paths, especially along LTA's road pavement. Where possible, cycling and pedestrian paths should be separate to minimize the risk of accidents. In addition, cycling paths should be wide enough, preferably about 3.5 meters in width, so that both novice and experienced cyclists can cycle safely. Second, provision of bike-sharing parking places. So to support bike-sharing in public housing estates, the 15 PAP Town Councils have drawn 3,000 yellow boxes at the void decks of our blocks. These provide enough space to store 28,000 bicycles for our residents and have drastically reduced the indiscriminate parking of shared bikes in our blocks. I would also like to draw attention to a pilot project undertaken by the Holland Bukit Panjang Town Council involving the implementation of geostations technology. This has also encouraged shared bike users to park their bikes at the designated yellow boxes in our town. Although the increase in the supply of bicycle lots at the HDB void decks has reduced indiscriminate parking, many shared bikes are still left at various places outside and around housing estates. These pose safety hazards. So, the town councils will continue to identify places to house more yellow boxes. At the same time, we hope that the LTA and the other government agencies will also expedite the provision of parking places at bus stops, LRT and MRT stations, parks and public amenities. So I urge the LTA to expedite the installation of geostation and QR code technology for all yellow boxes, including those at the town councils. This will ensure that the docking of shared bikes at these yellow boxes by all bike-sharing users. In addition, it is of paramount importance that the LTA ensures that regular housekeeping is performed by the bike-sharing operators to make sure that shared bikes are properly parked in the yellow boxes. Third, enforcement against bike operators, cyclists, and PMD users. Sir, I support Section 8P on regulatory action against licensees. This will ensure that bike sharing operators take measures to maintain a fleet of safe and roadworthy bikes for hire and to adopt appropriate measures, technological or otherwise, to prevent the indiscriminate parking of bikes by the hirers. The bill has specified performance standards for the licensee. However, it will be more effective if the LTA can introduce a penalty system which imposes demerit points on the licensee based on the different types of infringements, eventually culminating in the termination of operating licenses upon reaching a certain threshold. So besides regulating bike-sharing operators, it is necessary for the LTA to conduct regular enforcement operations to address the reckless behavior of some cyclists and PMD users. I urge the Ministry to consider imposing default liability on cyclists and PMD users if an accident occurs along a pedestrian footpath, unless it is proven that the accident is attributed to the behavior of pedestrians rather than the cyclists or PMD users. To ensure the safety of all parties, all cyclists and PMD users must slow down and signal in advance to warn pedestrians. The LTA should also set up mobile enforcement teams to act against reckless cyclists and PMD users based on feedback from the public. In the facilitation of enforcement, a telephone hotline to gather information from the public on hotspots or accident-prone areas will be of great value. The setting up of a hotline will also encourage more people to keep watch of the behavior of cyclists and PMD users. This will enhance safety for all. Sir, I support the bill.